Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a best of 3 series of Terran versus Protoss. We're in the top right hand corner. We have a man who recently changed the decal that's spinning around on his main nexus. You would imagine this is SOS, but no. Of course, this can only ever be herO. For some reason, he's been playing with the SOS portrait. I'm not exactly sure why. His opponent though, representing the rebellion with the blue Terran SCVs, a man who hasn't really changed his decal in a very long time. We're looking at ByuN's main command center. At this point, honestly, when I see the rebellion icon and I see a Terran base, it's synonymous with ByuN, right? Immediately. I hide the interface and everything just to make sure that I don't spoil anybody in case you wanted to have a more dramatic introduction, but I guess these decals. And I guess technically, I never look at these things, these stickers that are around the bases. Players can adjust those as well. Although I think this is the default run right here for ByuN. I'm not exactly sure. I never pay attention to them. But I do always notice the spinny thingy on the Nexus or on the command center. Or I guess on the hatchery as well. Although there's gonna be none of those in this particular series. I would be very surprised if either of these two pros decides to switch it up. Anyways, herO has decided to go for an insta probe scout. Not exactly sure as to why, but sometimes herO likes to be a bit of a bully. That's Protoss players in general. They love being bullies. Expecting him, though, to go for an expansion here on the low ground in just a moment. Cybercore first, apparently, and then straight into a Nexus. Need to get a couple of units out in order to deal with that very first Reaper that will be coming across the map here in just a moment. ByuN needs to make sure that he gets his command center going, by the way. We're doing a single gas opener. ByuN, are we gonna... okay. Yeah, I don't love that. That is like a 600 mineral command center here in the end. Which really doesn't sound like a big deal, but that is significantly delayed. And that, well, honestly justifies that probe being such a bully here early on. It's now gonna hide in the top left-hand corner of the map, only to come back around. herO knows the timing, of course, at which that Reaper spawns. Usually it's about about 2:02 of in-game time. Apparently ByuN, though, is smelling that something is a little bit odd here. He's looking for the probe, but he won't find it, and that means that that worker is going to continue harassing, although at least right now for ByuN, that command center is not building on the low ground, because he was already harassed away from that. Sometimes the probe can actually be quite annoying to the building SCV. Stalker into a sentry. What are we cooking up here, Mr. herO? Problem with going for a sentry is that he will not have any gas to... Well, I mean, I guess we can go... Yeah, okay, we're gonna go double sentry. Really? So, this is a techless opener right here for herO. This is actually very strange. Ooh, what are we... He did not go for a Twilight Council. He didn't go for a Stargate. Instead, this is double sentry off of 2 gas, 4 workers in gas in total, into a very quick third base as soon as the Reaper left. Really? This is incredibly vulnerable against many Terran builds. And this will be something that ByuN can maybe sniff out in just a moment. Well, if the Stalker has any say in the matter, it would like that, yeah, that unit to go and back off. Okay, so is there really still something... Ooh, trying to bait that Widowmine splash damage to go onto all of the Marines. He gets it onto at least 1. Is this still something at this point that ByuN can really punish? Imagine if this would have been like a... I don't know, like a double Cyclone opener, for example. That would have been an absolute disaster here for herO. Cutting 17 corners. Left, right... Sorry, what? I have not seen hallucinated probes in a professional game of StarCraft 2. In a decade? Generally, that is only a misclick. Now, fun fact, if you hallucinate workers, which yes, it's something that sentries can do, you get more than 1. You get 4. Yeah, what in the world? He's scouting. Okay. So he went for an hallucinated Phoenix towards the other side of the map. Now he's taking the watchtower over here. Maybe hoping that ByuN is gonna turn around and actually go after the worker. Oh my god. Well, that's when ByuN finds out that something is a little fishy. Obviously, the main goal right here for herO is just to buy time. Yeah, as long as he can buy time, he's gonna be alright. His economy is gonna be massive here. I would have liked to see that shield battery a little quicker. I also don't know if I want to see the shield battery all the way this far forward. That seems a little dangerous. Honestly, this entire build from herO seems very dangerous. But so far, it looks like he's getting away with murder. Recall used towards the main base. The hallucinated Phoenix chasing this down. There's only a handful of workers here to kill anyways, and the hallucination's actually pretty good bait. You know what? This is actually kind of sick here for herO, though. Because he is going to be able to get blinked on eventually, and this should line up with most of the Terran attacks. Cloak is going to finish up for the Banshee in just a moment, and obviously at this point there is no detection available. Robo facility coming up right now. Let's see. How much damage can the Banshee do? This is a very weird opener right here for herO. He doesn't have a forge and he doesn't have detection at all. So I actually think that this Banshee may just be able to turn the tide right here. Yeah. Keep on targeting. Then again though, even if you kill 10 workers, I think it's still very playable for herO. You know, whenever I see hallucinated workers, or, you know, other hallucinations, then... Well, for example, sometimes we see like a hallucinated oracle, right? It always seems very clever. I wouldn't be surprised if in, you know, the future of StarCraft 2, hallucinating something that isn't a Phoenix is actually going to be very common. Well, this is starting to become really quite painful here, though, for herO. Yeah, he's forced to now split his attention between that Banshee and the Widowmine threat over here as well. So he's trying his very best to shut all of it down, but ultimately he's losing so many workers. But still, you know what? 6 minutes into the game, like 20 workers have gone down. And worker-wise, herO's actually fine. He's actually ahead. You know what? herO may be onto something. Imagine if that robo facility was ever so slightly earlier. There's really no way to confirm exactly what early game Terran's gonna be playing, though, and obviously you have to play a bit of rock, paper, scissors and get lucky that Terran isn't gonna go for, well, some sort of shenanigans. Maybe that explains the super early scouting worker, but anyways, I think economically herO is actually totally fine. Hallucinated Colossus! We're just doing a fully hallucinated army, and look at it, ByuN! ByuN actually believes that it might be real. Blink? Ah. Could have blinked away. We're hallucinating all the things today, apparently. Force fields? He has been a little creative, I guess, with the hallucinations, and now he doesn't have a lot of energy anymore for force fields. Robo Bay coming up on the back of this. Double upgrades is what herO is thinking of as well. So he is not really feeling threatened whatsoever. It's difficult to judge these fights, by the way, here as ByuN, because he must have realized by now that that Colossus is not real. But you look at these armies, and you can only really micro at the blink of an eye, right? It's really easy to accidentally overextend. And it really does confuse you quite a bit. Obviously, you can bring like a Raven, or you can scan. But it's not like ByuN really has that in the mix right now to really confirm it. Instant Ghost Academy coming up. Okay. Instant as far as like... Third Command Center gets up and going, and immediately we go into the Ghost Academy. I don't think it's a bad choice. A sentry-heavy army, very uncommon, but obviously ghosts are good against Protoss in general. Usually you go for the Templar, or the Archons, or even the Charge slots, but I guess EMPing Stalkers and Sentries is not a bad choice. Okay. I actually have some coffee here. This entire early game, my coffee's getting cold. you know, it's okay. Yeah, no, I will give herO that one. Battery overcharge is gonna come in very handy, and now the Colossus is real. Yeah, that monster under your bed here, ByuN, it's been fake for a little bit. But apparently the next night, he decided to check. And it turned out this time around, the lasers were very real indeed. 1-1 upgrades. Robo Bay. Gonna get the extended thermal lens. By the way, one thing, I haven't tested this in many, many years, but if I'm not mistaken, once upon a time, I did check for this. The hallucination of a sentry, I believe, I'm not 100% sure, I would have to check, but I believe it adjusts depending on whether or not upgrades are researched. So I'm fairly sure that an hallucinated Colossus is gonna get additional ranged. So you could continue faking it when the extended thermal lens is upgraded. That used to be the case in the very early days of StarCraft 2, but I'm talking literally like a decade and a half ago. So I'm not sure, I don't think anybody's ever tested that over the last years, but I'm pretty sure that it should still be there. Even though it's not very relevant information. We got a nice little bit of StarCraft 2 trivia. I should go check after this game. Okay. Gravitic Drive is being researched right here for herO. He is going to be able to get that speedy boy Prism very soon. ByuN, by the way, just trying to play macro here. I'm playing a relatively normal game. Ultimately, all the roads do lead towards a pretty standard mid game here. But just imagine if herO did not lose 22 workers. Imagine if he lost even just half that. The Widowmine drops were completely nullified. 6 gas in total. Happily macroing up. Okay, so Prism in the bottom right-hand corner. It's gonna get its nitro boosts. Is that what it was? In Need for Speed? Loved playing Need for Speed when I was a kid. Haven't really played a racing game since. Okay. So, here go the Zealots. The nice thing, of course, about the Gravitic Drive is that it's much easier to fly away from, for example, Vikings. Although, that is a very ambitious charge. Yeah, I don't think that was going to be all too helpful. In the meantime, though, big attack over here at the Watchtower. My god, what a clumsy fight. Half of herO's units can't engage here because, well, they need a lot of space. And ByuN absolutely slaps this army away. I think this was about the best fight that ByuN could have taken here. Yeah. Because that was a very scary Protoss army, but obviously, as we all know, Protoss units are very heavy, and when they stand on glass, they did stip and fall immediately. So, they can't walk on the glass, and because of that, the surface area is actually not nearly as good as it could have been. Since, of course, a lot of these Terran units, actually, all of the Terran units are ranged units, other than the SCVs. And the mules, I guess, but they can't even attack. It's very tricky for Protoss to engage in there when you have a... Well, I guess he had mostly ranged units too, but... Units like the Zealot would be in quite a bit of trouble there. Not sure why we decided to fight there, honestly. Then again, though, herO in, well, much the same way as Zerg players would play, he is trying to swarm Terran here. Just making a load of probes, still making more. We're all the way up to 90 right now. ByuN's sitting at a very conventional worker count, bumping out a whole load of units. So you should have 5 barracks with tech labs, 5 with reactors. Seems like that is indeed the case. Just making good old Marine Marauder Medevac with Vikings and Ghosts for support. Something I haven't really touched on yet, though, is the fact that herO also followed up with very quick double upgrades on the back of it, which is actually kind of cool, too. So a very greedy opener. The fact that he's actually leading as far as those upgrades go by, like, a minute? Maybe 45 seconds? Very significant. Okay. Obviously, our disruptors don't really benefit from it. Now that all the Colossi are gone, apparently we have transitioned towards full disruptor production instead. Nullifying pretty much all of those Vikings. Oh, okay. Nice micro right there by ByuN. As is to be expected, of course. Now a bunch of Colossi once again do show up. Where the Vikings... Yeah, they were roaming around the perimeter, I guess, to try and get rid of any war prisms that might feel a bit overly adventurous. So difficult to chase this army, though, for Protoss, because you know that there's gonna be a bunch of disruptors in the mix. Ultimately, yeah, the Colossi will once again fall, but this time around it's gonna cost those Vikings quite dearly, too. Big EMPs right here on everything. My god, we just keep EMPing the same units over and over and over again. 12 additional Zealots get warped in. 3 additional Disruptors are coming up, and he's already queuing a bunch of Colossi on the back of it, too. My god. Sometimes herO gets in these moods, man. He is very much so playing Zerg against Terran. Yeah, I called earlier that we didn't have any hatcheries in this series, but I mean, the Nexus may as well be. He's just throwing away stuff. Well, I don't think you want to Nova your own Zealots. That would be a little dangerous. ByuN completely pinned back, by the way, at this point. He's going 3-3. He's going Ghost Liberator, which normally is great. Problem is... Oof, that could have been a big problem, too. Problem is, he just does not have the economy to face herO. So his army is phenomenal. He's trying to hit a timing, by the way, with 3-3. It's gonna finish up right now. And we're fighting. Okay, there's a little bit of an overly ambitious fight, though. You can tell that he's all army hotkeying a bunch as well, as he's dragging those zealots away after charging, which is not quite ideal. Here's the Colossi once again showing up. Obviously, the Vikings at this point have been destroyed. Marauders, though, are, of course, a good counter against Colossi. Well, I didn't mean all of you were destroyed. Apparently, there's still 3 of you up in the air. New Nexus building up north. We're gonna try and steal one of the bases of ByuN. Are we gonna take any of these expansions too? Oh, yeah, of course. Just take the entire map. Just gobble it up, herO. Honestly, the only thing that can go wrong right now for herO is that he gets carried away. Because he just spent, like, I don't know, 1,500 resources or so on things that aren't really gonna help him out. I'm secretly hoping we're gonna see some more of that sentry opener. It would be very dangerous to play. Because obviously ByuN could counter it, but... that is ultimately, it's the sentries. They're ultimately leading him towards this game. And I kind of feel like he made it a bit more difficult for himself than it really needed to be as well, though. Like, the robo facility was quite late. Took a lot more damage than he really needed to. Yeah, I don't think there's enough. No. So, very similar to a Terran versus Zerg. Terran holds on against the first 7, maybe 9 waves. And then ultimately, it seems like the amount of reinforcements that the swarm is able to produce is just too big. Yeah, you can micro really well. Look at this absolute bad boy. We're stutter stepping a Colossus. 12 Stalkers coming up. More Disruptors are on the production tab. herO is taking another base. I think that might be a little much, to be honest, because I don't think he's fully saturated on the mineral lines that he's currently got. But you know what? When you're balling, you may as well flex it, right? This is like going to Instagram and looking at those reels. There's always going to be a bunch of people that are like, yo, look at my, I don't know, my wine cooler and my, I don't know, my indoor theater. This is basically the indoor theater of the Protoss, is what I'm saying, okay? herO's watching the videos on the big screen. Thank you very much for that, herO. Love the way he played it. Very cool. Yeah, ByuN is not going to give this up without really trying, but there's really no way. Nah, he's super dead. And all of this after herO lost 22 workers by like minute 6. Game number 2. We find ourselves on Crimson Court. herO, can you do the same build again? I want to see more hallucinated probes. Actually, it wasn't so much the hallucinated probes. I am curious, actually, if ByuN is going to make any changes. Because if ByuN once again decides to go and do the exact same build order that he just now did, and ByuN has actually become quite predictable with his strategies, even though he does a lot of weird stuff, the weirdness is quite predictable in a strange way. He loves playing that more macro-focused style and just... basically what ByuN seems to do is bring a bunch of random units that he happened to have made across the map early on, and then he hits you in the face when Stimpack finishes. But it's like the same weird theme every single time. So, if he happens to go for some Cyclones, though, I do imagine that it's going to be very tricky for herO to play something like that. I think it'd be very difficult to pull off. Okay. Crimson Court, of course, a little bit of a different map, too. We have seen some Protoss players get kind of cheeky here with the gold wall. I actually think that was kind of neat. This was recently in a series that I covered against Zerg, but Zerg basically had an Overlord hiding on top of this pillar. And I think it was Classic at the time. He purposefully mined out this mineral field, and then that mineral field, and then that mineral field, but never the ones at the bottom. So Zerglings started working away at the rocks, fully expecting a Nexus to be building over here. Because a probe was mining out all the mineral fields, right? Turns out it was actually a 2-base push. Kind of a neat little way of playing it. I would imagine that that's not very relevant. Oh, well, maybe. Okay, well, we have to keep an eye on exactly what this probe has got in store here. Because that is a little bit dangerous. You're always dealing with limited amounts of information, of course. No cyclone opener, by the way, or at least not a quick cyclone opener here from ByuN. It's gonna go into a single gas expand inside of the main base. So he'll be flying that command center on down to the low ground here in just a moment. Alrighty. Stargate coming up right now for herO. So no double, triple sentry opener this time around. No, this is a lot more conventional. Interesting position actually on that. Okay, apparently we don't really want to be sending it forward. This will be scouted as well by ByuN, I would imagine. He's looking for that pylon right now. Yep, he sees it, he clicks it, and he knows exactly what he's playing against. Already going for the cyclone, so he would be happy to send it towards the other side of the map. And deal with any sort of sentry shenanigans as well this time around, but not the case right here. Not necessary at all for ByuN. Okay. Should be oracles. herO, yeah, it finished. There you go. We were waiting for 150 minerals. It is indeed going to be an oracle. In the meantime, on the other side, we do have a cheeky adept. Shooting whatever adept shoot. Little balls of energy. Yeah. Actually, most Protoss units seem to... Like, for example, Stalkers and Colossi, they, like, shoot lasers. Poor Adept, apparently, does not get to shoot lasers. More like a little ball of energy, I guess. Twilight Council on the back of this, too. Okay. So we've got ourselves an Oracle. herO knows he's been scouted. So apparently we're just gonna go for a single Oracle, and that's it? And we're just gonna be using it defensively? Okay. Well, he may very well need it in just a moment. Obviously, oracles are strong, but also relatively flimsy. Liberator on the back of this, and this is what ByuN does, right? His random combination of units early on. Everything gets rallied towards the other side of the map. And this is going to be his first big attack wave until Stimpack ultimately finishes. Now, this is a good fight. Yeah, not a bad start right there for ByuN. The lock-on cooldown is very quick. So just softening up that Oracle is actually massive. Obviously, we're not going to see any blink here anytime soon. Immediate kill right there on that Oracle. Good targeting. Where's the medevac, though? Did the medevac... Oh, dude, the medevac was literally right in the middle of that fight. For some reason, I didn't see the medevac. Anyways, this is a very nice fight right here for ByuN. Again, quick third Nexus, and this is not something that ByuN has seen yet, but he may be able to put one and one together. Alrighty. Are we gonna do the switcheroo? Get ourselves Stimpack going here. It would be nice. Killing 10 workers, though, at minute 5 is absolutely massive. And obviously, this wasn't as greedy a build right here for herO. But once again, a pretty dang quick third Nexus. Actually, ByuN not spotting that. I'm assuming he's putting one and one together and he realizes that something is a little odd. Because he should have seen at least a second Stargate unit. He had units at home as well to defend against such a thing, so it should have been very manageable for him if it would have been a second Stargate unit, but he hasn't seen one. Now his second one does pop out. But you have to be careful here as ByuN that you don't just assume that your opponent is on 2 bases, because 3 probes chrono boosted at a time, they do get built pretty quickly. Maybe not quite as good as like the Zerg larva mechanic, to be able to pump out a dozen workers all at the same time, but chrono boost is not to be underestimated. Okay. Liberator just hanging out. Just chilling. Ooh, it's gonna be charge on the back of this too. Charge apparently together with the +1 armor. And there is ultimately Stimpack. Together with combat shields. There you go. Thank you for making me look good. And then also +1 infantry weapons. So this is where Terrans sit back. Yeah, this is where we relax. This may be a time as well for defending, right? Because there may be some Stalkers in your main base, which can be kind of annoying. But overall, this would be the time in the game where Terrans just get to chill. Jimmy. Okay, good. This is a time to chill. Do a little bit of sunbathing. Or at the very least, like, lift the visor, I guess, of your marine suit. I'm gonna do a recall to the other side of the map here. Because apparently... Oh. Okay. A stalker fit over there. Sorry about that, buddy. Apparently that Liberator decided to finally commit. Ooh. Don't fall. One of its legs is dangling off, dude. Alright. I thought for a second he was Mufasa, but... Looks like they're... Well, must always be a king, I guess. Don't know about this dude. He's a bit of a clumsy king. Stasis ward in the middle of the map, actually very handy. Even though there's only been one oracle available here for herO for a while. Slowing this down in any way possible is super good. So this is where Terran hits that big power spike with those 3 upgrades all finishing up right around the same time. It is difficult though for ByuN to push into this because he really needs sieged up tanks. And he's already going up against a Protoss who does have charge done for quite a bit. So these Zealots, can't underestimate them. Yeah, I think if you commit right now, I mean, there may be a chance to overwhelm this. I think this is indeed herO's best opportunity. Okay, he will be able to get rid of that siege tanks. Or that siege tanks. Nice. Good English, Lowko. At least I saw them this time around, unlike that medevac. Ooh. Still a dicey engagement here, though, for the Protoss player. ByuN's army is looking massive, trying to bait this army over the Widow Mines as well. In the middle of all of this, by the way, herO knows he's behind. He goes double upgrades. Which is kind of nuts. Yeah, I think ultimately this is a fight that will be pushed back, but double upgrades during all of this is actually kind of cool. You know what? That fight actually went much better for herO than it originally looked. The fact that he managed to survive there at all and not really lose any economy is really sweet, because, like I said, he went double upgrades, he was building a 4th Nexus, which just now finished up. We have a robo facility coming. Gas is skipped, by the way, in both the natural as well as the 3rd. He's now taking additional gases over here. Okay, up north? We don't take another base already, do we? herO. This has been quite common lately, though, for Protoss players to really take a page out of the book of the Zerg. Look at that little Carrack. Really just trying to swarm over them. Look at this. Once again, builds a Nexus as he's just about to be under threat. Very dangerous. No splash damage available yet here for the Protoss at all. So it's just going to be Zealots and Stalkers. There is a robo facility, but that's really just for Widow Mines. To detect them, that is, the observers. Yeah, Zealots are strong. That's obviously the reason why we have double upgrades here for those Protoss units. They really do pack a punch. Widow Mines, though. I would love to see Ghosts. Ooh, another big stasis. I would love to see Ghosts right here for ByuN, because they're ultimately... They're good, obviously, against spellcasters, but they're really good against clumped up Protoss units in general. And Zealots do tend to clump. Easy EMPs, but so far he doesn't have them. And with half that Terran army currently in stasis, herO actually feels like he can push through. This is so funky, though, because now the entire Terran army is super disconnected. herO, who was very far behind just a couple minutes ago, is finding himself at a much better spot now. It is important, though, that he does not overextend. Yeah, the entire Protoss army has disappeared, but much like Zerg, he can reinforce. The gateways, I guess, are his larva. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? I don't know who the queen would be. That's kind of the only role that is unfulfilled right here, if Protoss wants to be a Zerg, but these can be the larva. The probes at that point, who are the creator of the gates, I guess, could be the queens, but... a little difficult to pull off. Anyways. The Colossi are hitting the battlefield. And you know what? herO's economy, once again, not to be underestimated. I don't think ByuN knows about any of those bases, no. He hasn't seen any of these on the left side at all. Here's the Zergling run-by. And it's forcing a full turnaround right here on the Terran army. Couple of Zealots tried to use Burrow, find out they don't have it. Yeah, it's a little unfortunate. They were trying to burrow over there in the corner, but they couldn't get it done. This is a bit of a head-scratcher of a game as well for ByuN, though, because I think he's also a bit confused about exactly what's going on. He's very late on his 2-2. So the armory apparently was delayed, and now 2-2 has been delayed for ages. He's all the way up to 1200 plus gas. Slowly but surely, though, the robo units are starting to hit. And they're actually getting a lot of damage done here, too. The Marines and Marauders, though, are left over. Looks like the Colossi will get shut down. But I think with reinforcing gateway charges, herO will be able to push all of this back. Gets another medevac for his troubles as well. And now, ultimately, we're at 87 workers. herO's economy is going to be, yeah, more than 1,200 resources more a minute than ByuN. So he's effectively producing a 12 zealot difference every minute that goes by. And that is not really something you can fight against very easily here as Terran. You can keep trading. And all of these fights are pretty cost efficient for Terran, but he knows that there is really no way to continue fighting the Swarm. And ultimately, it's herO who obtains the victory, 2-0 over ByuN, playing a very Zergy style. You'll love to see it.